In this episode, we're talking about internships, what and how to research when job interviewing, and the most overlooked feature on LinkedIn. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of So What, where we answer your job interview, resume, and career-related questions. Now, don't forget, if you want a question answered here on the show, be sure to jump on Twitter and use the hashtag SOHWHAT. That's hashtag SOHWHAT. So make sure you use that on Twitter, and I'll answer your question right here on the show. So without further ado, let's jump to question number 1.
True or false? Why? It's difficult to get an interview with someone you don't already have a relationship.
Now, it's not necessarily difficult to get an interview with someone who you don't have a relationship with. Granted, it helps to do so. Now, for me personally, when I got my first internship in DC, I was a part of the IT department who had a relationship with an alumni who set up the entire internship process, and I was able to get in sort of that way. Now, I had to interview, but granted, I already had that relationship with that person, and they helped me get in there, right? So it helps to have that relationship, but it's not completely necessary. It's tons of students who go out there, they apply on job boards, UNCF, Intern Queen, or what have you, and they find an internship, and they don't have a prior relationship with that company. But as I mentioned, it helps. And here's how you do it. So you find the internship program that they're offering, that's being offered. So for me, on my website, Secrets of the Hire, we have, a bunch of companies, Royal Caribbean, DSW, just a bunch of different companies. So you find whatever internship program it is, and then you go over to LinkedIn and you see who currently works at that company as the HR person, intern coordinator, or what have you, and you start to build a relationship with that person. You reach out to them and you inquire about the internships and things like that. And you build a solid relationship, and before you know it, an internship is offered, and since they already know you, they'll probably refer you up to the hiring manager, thus cutting out a ton of the process that a lot of the people who are applying off the street, what have you, are facing. So it does help to have a relationship, but it's not completely necessary. So I don't want that to deter you from getting or applying for an internship if you don't have a prior relationship with that person. It's not completely necessary, as I mentioned, but it helps to have one. So, next question.
Lots of talk about the importance of research before an interview, but few say what to research. What's the key?
Okay, so there's a lot you can research before the job interview. For me personally, I don't like to get too into the weeds, but I do like to do I do like to go beyond the website. So of course you want to, do the basic research on the website, see what the mission is, the objective, the goals of the company, and you have to actually analyze that. Most people just read it and say, okay, I know about the company, and they could regurgitate that information. No, I want you to actually go out there and ask yourself, where's this company going? Where's this company going, and how can I help this company get to where they want to be based on the objective, based on the mission, and based on the vision, right? And you can go dive really deep into that. And also go deep into the position. Really read the job description and really start asking yourself questions that you're going to ask the employer, that you want to know about the job, because not only do you want to be hired, but you also want to make an impact while in that position. So really dig deep on the job description and ask yourself, don't just read, just analyze. What exactly is this company expecting from me? And am I willing to fulfill those needs, right? So dig down on the research on the exact description and the company as well. And look up some news articles, look up some press releases, or anything you can find on the company, just so you can sort of get a better gauge of where the company is going. And do you want to be a part of that? A big resource that I use when I'm getting ready for a job interview and I want to know more about the company, I want to know what to research, I want to know what to expect, I want to know what kind of questions to expect, because at the end of the day, as the interviewee, that's all you want to know really is which questions are coming up and can I prepare for those questions. So see where you're going. So what I do is go to Glassdoor and I'll type in the company and I'll type in job interview questions. And from then you can see who's interviewed at the company. You can see what type of questions they were asked. You can see what the employers were looking for. And that's going to better help you mentally because it's going to give you a grasp on what types of questions employers are asking. Are they asking behavior interview questions? Are they asking the softball interview questions? What type of interview is it? Is it a panel interview? Is it just another phone interview? You really want to read up on Glassdoor because Glassdoor, it gives you the information you need from past employees and their past experiences. And if you just do those sort of things and you really analyze instead of just read, what you're looking for, and then you'll better grasp on how to approach the job interview. You won't be as nervous. You'll know what questions to ask. You'll know what to expect. And therefore, it will leave you in a better light and you'll have a better interview, all around. So that's pretty much how I go about researching. Also, another quick tip, I use LinkedIn. Of course, I'm a big component of LinkedIn. Now, what I do is I go out and I'll actually type in the person's name who's interviewing me. You'll get an email saying you'll be interviewing with this person. So I look up that person on LinkedIn and I just see what their interests are. I see what organizations they're a part of, what they're passionate about, what groups they're a part of, and I'll use that in conversation. So for an example, I had a job interview one time, woman named Gabriella, right? I looked her up and I seen that she was a part of an organization that I had interest in, which was Autism Speaks. So, I got there after the interview, we shook hands or whatever, and, it was a long walk to the actual interview room where they would be interviewing me. So, I didn't want to have that sort of dead silence, awkwardness sort of situation. So, I brought up the organization. I brought it up casually so it didn't make it look like I was, sort of peeping her LinkedIn profile, nothing like that. And we started talking about that the entire time. Even during most of the interview, we were talking about the organization and all that good stuff. And we actually built some sort of relationship there. And we exchanged contact details. And I'm actually still in touch with her till this day, right? So it helps to do the research, go above and beyond, see who's actually interviewing you, and sort of break that ice. So that's pretty much my tips for that one. So let's hit the last question.
What are some of the most powerful yet most often overlooked features on LinkedIn? What shouldn't we miss?
Okay, great. Now the most overlooked and powerful feature on LinkedIn, my personal opinion, used to be, well, it might probably still is actually the LinkedIn publishing feature. LinkedIn publishing. So LinkedIn allows you to write blog posts and share those blog posts with your community. Now, there's no better way to sort of define your brand and really build some clout behind your brand than to build content around your brand and what you want to be known for. So for an example, let's say I was a tax professional and I really want to build my brand on LinkedIn. I really want to build my brand in general. I'll start putting out posts on what I think about the current tax plans, the current tax bills, certain tax bills that are passed, what I would personally do about certain, tax structures and things like that. I'll start putting out that content and then I'll start sharing that content in LinkedIn groups, right? So people can converse with me, so we can have conversation, we can have that dialogue, we can have that debate, and therefore there's going to be some clout behind my name because when employers look up me and they look up my content, they're going to see like, okay, this person, this person really knows what you're talking about. This person has a passion for the subject. They don't just work this 9 to 5. They actually have some articles on here that really showcase their expertise. That's a great tool, LinkedIn publishing. And as I mentioned, you can share whatever post you want in different groups and you can really build your brand that way. Another feature which LinkedIn just released is the video feature. And I'm heavily using the LinkedIn video feature. I'm using it to train. I'm using it to talk about resumes, to talk about my views on current job interviews and job search and all this good stuff, right? And that's my opportunity to display my expertise. I've been using it a couple of times a week, and it's people contacting me in my inbox saying, hey, I'm enjoying your content. I would like for you to look over my resume. I would like for you to partner with me on this, and I'm getting actual clients from that. So LinkedIn is an extremely valuable social network, specifically focused towards business and career, and it's something that we all should take advantage of. We spend a lot of time on the Facebooks and the Instagrams, which is cool. You can put out content on those platforms, but LinkedIn is extremely important. The LinkedIn publishing feature, one of my favorite features, and also LinkedIn video, which they just released. It really allows you to get on camera and really show people who you are and really showcase your expertise. And it really gives you a chance to pretty much show your passion for the subject at hand. So make sure you check out those features. It's extremely important. And that wraps up all questions for today's episode, guys. Thank you for tuning in to So What episode number 8. And don't forget, if you want a question answered here in the show, be sure to use the hashtag So What. That's hashtag SOHWHAT. Make sure you use that on Twitter, and I'll be glad to answer your question. So guys, oh yeah, one more thing. Do not forget to check out the Secrets of the Higher Job Board, focused specifically for college students and recent graduates. We have a bunch of internships at entry-level jobs, from Royal Caribbean to, I think we got Deloitte there. We might still have that. Guardian, bunch of different internships and entry-level jobs for you guys. So make sure you check that out. And also, in the description, make sure you check out my course at watchmegetajobinterview.com. So guys, with that being said, I'll see you in the next episode. Peace out.